Welcome back, Helldivers. Today we're covering the topic of the Helldivers exosuits, or as they are more commonly known throughout the community, Mechs. Let's start off with what we learned about Mechs from the first game. Fair warning, I never got the chance to use the exosuits in the first game, so I'll be using gameplay from YouTube to help fill in the gaps of my knowledge. Exosuits are large, hulking machines of war that, while slow-moving, bring superior firepower to the battlefield. These mechs are not intended to run through the battlefield, and their slow turn radius does mean that they can be easily ambushed if their pilot is not aware of their surroundings. When deploying an exosuit, it is advisable to drop their stratagem away from other Helldivers, as they are brought onto the battlefield by a pelican and not the traditional Hellpod. Exosuits in the first game are also equipped with a stratagem launcher, so that the pilot does not need to exit their mech to call in for additional munitions or reinforcements. The XO-44 Walker exosuit was the first mech introduced into the game and fills the role of your average sci-fi mech suit. We read from the first game, the pinnacle of Helldiver weaponry. The XO-44 is a manned walker armed with the MG-11 minigun and 8 anti-infantry homing missiles. When fully upgraded to its Mark III iteration, this exosuit is renamed to the XO-44 Stomper and is equipped with anti-tank missiles. Although the wiki does note that these missiles lock onto enemy targets, and therefore are not very effective when destroying mission objectives. On May 12, 2015, the Pilot Pack DLC was released for Helldivers, and included the XO-48 Obsidian exosuit, which from the wiki we read its description. The Obsidian exosuit is a continued and specialized development of the XO-44 Walker exosuit. Armed with 2 twin 20mm autocannons, it is devastating to low and medium armored targets. Its only drawback is the distinct lack of anti-tank capability. And finally, on July 7th, 2015, the Vehicles Pack DLC was released and brought in a new exosuit to the battlefield, the XO-51 Lumberer. We read from the wiki, the XO-51 was developed as a specific counter to heavier enemy targets, incorporating a 90mm cannon into the design. It is also armed with a flamer to deal with smaller threats. Some compromises were made to accommodate the larger cannon. Most notably, it has severely limited ammunition and lacks gyro stabilization for its main gun. An interesting note found in the Pilot's Pack is that pilots are some of the few Helldivers given the honor of using the Obsidian exosuit, which to me implies that there must be some type of specialized training when operating the more specialized exosuits. In Helldivers 2, exosuits were introduced into the game shortly after launch. We received a glimpse of their power on the battlefield before the game released, but once they did drop from orbit, they changed the tide of the galactic war. Exosuits are manufactured on the planet Tianquan, which resides in a sector on the galactic map neighboring the Automaton Uprising. Not much is known about the planet Tianquan, but in Chinese astrology, there is a binary star in the Taurus constellation that shares its name. To be more precise, the star is known as Zeta Tauri, but was transliterated as Tianquan. Excuse me for the mispronunciations, Google and Wikipedia can only help me so much. Tianquan roughly translates to Celestial Frontier, or the Celestial Gate. We shall see if any more pieces of lore come from this planet, but it is interesting that the planet is named as the Celestial Frontier, and that is where exosuits are currently being manufactured. Originally, Helldivers were notified that the manufacturing process of the exosuits on Tianquan was starting up due to the Automaton Uprising. It was then halted when automatons attacked Tianquan. But Helldiver forces came together and liberated the planet, meaning that all Helldivers now have access to the new exosuits. At the time of this recording, only one exosuit has been added into Helldivers 2, the XO-45 Mark III Patriot. This exosuit does seem to be a variation of the XO-44 Stomper, with a very similar Gatling gun and rocket pods. Also, the fact that using the melee button literally lets you stomp with the exosuit. Interestingly though, the Patriot does not feature the stratagem launcher anymore, meaning that you have to disembark to call in for airstrikes and other resources. My guess is that this was done for balancing reasons. I was a little worried when we heard Exosuits were coming to Helldivers 2. I had read on some forums that when Mechs were first introduced into the first game, they dominated the strategies of players, and most everyone used them all the time. Again, I never played the first game much, so if you are a Helldivers veteran, please let me know in the comments what it was actually like. That being said, in Helldivers 2, I think the mechs are, generally speaking, balanced really well. You can't rearm them, and they are a one-time stratagem, so you really need to be smart about when and where you use them in a mission. We can cover my full thoughts about these hulking machines in another video though. I was in a mad dash to get this video out now that Exosuits are in the game. I covered some of the basics here, but as always, I might have missed some lore from the first game. So if you know of any more information about the Exosuits, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, go spread democracy.